Welcome back, Focus Learners. I'm so glad you're here for another explainer. Today, we are setting off on a truly mind-bending journey into one of the most profound ancient philosophical texts ever written. We are unpacking the wisdom of the legendary sage Nagarjuna, specifically translated by Kumarajiva, to explore what is described as literally the ultimate medicine for the mind. If you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by the attachments, the anxieties, or just the daily illusions of life, you are going to want to pay close attention to this. We're basically looking at the exact ancient prescription designed to cure the human condition.
Okay, let's dive into this map of our journey today. First up, the medicine of emptiness. Then we'll tackle inner and outer illusions, followed by deconstructing time and space. After that, we hit the climax with the emptiness of emptiness before wrapping it all up with achieving ultimate freedom.
All right, Section 1, the medicine of emptiness.
You know, the core problem we all face is that we suffer because we fiercely attach ourselves to things that just aren't permanent. We cling to them like crazy. To fix this, the source material offers a highly precise prescription, and this brilliantly illustrates why the text breaks emptiness down into exactly 18 specific types. It uses this amazing medical analogy. If a doctor prescribes medicine, too little obviously won't cure your disease. But if they give you too much, the medicine itself becomes a poison, right? It just adds to the illness. By defining exactly 18 types of emptiness, Nagarjuna hits the exact middle. It's the perfect dosage to completely dismantle our attachments without accidentally creating brand new mental ailments.
Let's clear up the absolute biggest misconception right out of the gate. When we talk about shunyata, or emptiness, we are definitely not talking about some depressing, dark void of nothingness. Absolutely not. Emptiness is an active tool. It's the ultimate medicine, designed specifically to dissolve the mind's attachments to false realities. Think of it as a functional, liberating mechanism meant to free us from suffering, not a state of despair.
Moving right along to Section 2, Inner and Outer Illusions.
Look at how systematically the text targets the ways we falsely perceive ourselves and the world around us. First off, we have inner emptiness. This targets the internal stuff we usually identify as ourself. You know, our eyes, our ears, our inner feelings. Well, none of those possess a permanent, unchanging core. Second is outer emptiness. This is all the external forms, sounds, and taste we constantly crave. Guess what? They're fleeting too and totally lack independent reality. And finally, we have inner-outer emptiness, which is the actual interaction between the two. When you finally realize that neither the self doing the craving nor the object being craved has a solid, independent reality, man, the grip of illusion really starts to loosen.
To really understand how this works in practice, the text gives us this incredible metaphor based on the number 1. Imagine taking one single handful of salt and throwing it into a tiny cup of water. That water becomes completely undrinkable, right? The bitterness is super concentrated, but what if you take that exact same handful of salt and throw it into a massive rushing river? It loses its salty mark entirely. The water is still sweet. The text explains that our concentrated daily pain is exactly like that cup. By expanding our wisdom and embracing this emptiness, we become like the river. We dilute the suffering until it literally no longer has any power over us.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the fascinating contrast and how we can actually apply this emptiness. The text outlines 2 main paths. The first is the Hinayana path. Think of this like a prisoner digging a hole through a wall just to escape their own personal cycle of suffering. I mean, it's effective for sure, but it's limited strictly to the individual. The Mahayana path, on the other hand, uses the immense power of emptiness to smash the entire prison to the ground. It destroys the very structure of suffering so that everyone can walk free. It's all about using the medicine not just to heal yourself, but to literally liberate the world.
That brings us to Section 3, Deconstructing Time and Space.
To explain the emptiness of dispersion, which is the idea that all physical objects are really just temporary gatherings of parts, the text uses a deeply relatable metaphor of a child playing in the dirt. Step 1, the child builds a little dirt castle. Step 2, they fiercely protect it, maybe even getting into fights with other kids over it, completely convinced it has immense value. And step 3, the sun sets, it's time to go home, and the child joyfully stomps the castle flat, realizing it was just dirt all along. I actually want you to pause and ask yourself right now, what sandcastle in your life are you fiercely protecting today, totally forgetting that it's destined to be scattered?
Let's move to and see how this builds into our understanding of time, specifically what the text calls beginningless emptiness. If you try to trace the origin of the universe or the origin of suffering back to one specific starting point, you just get trapped in an impossible loop. Think about it. If there is a beginning, well, what caused that beginning?
Time itself is empty of an absolute, independent starting point. Because the past has no definitive beginning and the future has no definitive end, the present simply cannot be firmly grasped. Time is just a flow of causes and conditions, not some rigid structure.
But right here, the text throws us a massive curveball. It poses a highly critical question for us. What if, after applying all this brilliant logic, you actually become attached to the concept of emptiness itself? What if you start clinging to nothingness as your brand new rigid reality?
Let's explore that in Section 4, the emptiness of emptiness. This brings us to the radical, mind-bending climax of the entire text. So the crucial point is this. Emptiness is a medicine designed to cure your attachments. But if you hold on to the medicine after it has destroyed your illusions, that medicine tragically becomes a brand new disease. You absolutely must not cling to the concept of emptiness. You literally have to empty out emptiness itself. Once the illness is gone, the medicine has to be thrown away, or else you're going to suffer from medicine sickness.
The text provides such a brilliant analogy to explain this. Think of your worldly attachments as a band of thieves plundering a village. Emptiness is the powerful warrior you send in to defeat those thieves. The warrior goes in and successfully drives out the bandits. Great, right? But if that warrior then decides to stay, take over the village, and become a dictator, you aren't truly free. To achieve the ultimate state of peace, even the warrior must eventually lay down their arms and leave. Emptiness defeats attachments for sure, but then it must defeat itself.
And this leads us directly to the emptiness of ultimate reality. The text insists that even the highest spiritual goal imaginable, nirvana itself, lacks any independent, concrete characteristics to cling to. If you turn nirvana into just another shiny object of desire, you've missed the entire point. Ultimate reality is empty of all our conceptual frameworks. It is complete unattachment, even to the very idea of salvation.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Achieving Ultimate Freedom.
Here, the text deconstructs the absolute final building blocks of reality, the conditioned and the unconditioned. Conditioned things are anything made of causes, like our physical bodies, our thoughts, the world around us. Unconditioned things are concepts without causes, like eternal space or nirvana. The text proves that both of these states are entirely empty of intrinsic nature. You can't cling to the earthly, and you can't cling to the eternal either.
Then the text unleashes these rapid-fire sweeping emptinesses, the emptiness of non-existence, the emptiness of existence, and the emptiness of both existence and non-existence. It systematically shatters every single one of our last mental crutches. It absolutely refuses to let the mind rest on it is, or it isn't, or even a combination of the two. It completely sweeps the floor clean of all human dualities.
And that leads to the ultimate conclusion, the emptiness of unapprehendability. This is the ultimate state of freedom, where absolutely nothing can be grasped, found, or held onto. The text notes that because nothing can be rigidly grasped, there is absolutely nothing left to fear, nothing left to fiercely protect, and nothing to lose. By letting go of everything, including the very idea of letting go, you achieve a state of total, unshakable peace.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We've seen how the 18 emptinesses systematically dismantle our attachments to ourself, the world, time, and even the cure itself. So if even nothing is nothing, what is actually holding you back today? What anxieties are you carrying right now that are essentially just dirt castles waiting to be scattered? I really hope this explainer has given you some incredible ancient tools to start dismantling those walls. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring these profound concepts.